Hey, good evening, my friends. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. A big update for you on the weather heading this way. First off, I want to let you know we will get through this. This is an Alberta clipper moving fairly quickly, but it's a fairly robust Alberta clipper, so it's going to cause definitely some weather headaches during the day tomorrow and Monday night. Then we have bitterly cold air on the way for Wednesday, and something that maybe you haven't, some people aren't talking about just yet, a big warm-up possibly on the way. I'll show that to you as a little teaser at the end. We're talking 40s maybe by next weekend, and early the following week, maybe 50, maybe close to 60 degrees in far southern lower Michigan. We'll get to that a little bit later on, but here we go. Thanks for joining me. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. We'll give you a weather update on this snow system heading across Michigan, and if you could, hit the share button and so folks can know what's going on. All right, here we go. Here's the radar and the solid area of snow out to the west, classic Alberta clipper, and heading our way. Hey there, Laura Savicki. Good evening. And hello, Owasso there. All right, Matthew Grosco. Hey, you're one of my new Facebook friends from Traverse City, correct? All right, here is, first off, before I give you the snowfall totals, which I know is what you want, we have two ways to show it to you today, and we're going to be kind of in between the two. First way is the models that crank out a 10-to-1 ratio. 1 inch of water makes 10 inches of snow. This is a cold snow. It's not going to be 10-to-1. It's going to be more than that. It's probably going to be average about 15 to maybe 18 inches of snow to 1 inch of water, a light fluffy stuff that blows around. The second way tries to do that. It's called the Kuchera method. It's just a different way that it takes temperatures into account. Hey, my wife is watching, Lisa Torregrossa, all right, from upstairs. And that one will usually overdo the snowfall a little bit. So I'm going to show you both and show you what's in the middle. All right, so we're on to our high-resolution computer model now because the storm is in the shorter term. And I'm going to take it to you at 7 in the morning. We're going to stop. This is 7 in the morning, snowfall total. So east side of the state, you're probably going to get to work. Okay. By the way, if you were trying to escape to Florida, if you could get on your horse early, 4 or 5 in the morning, get down into Ohio, you could escape the storm altogether. By 7 in the morning, the shoreline, western shoreline, maybe 2 inches or so. Jason Julian, he's a big weather nut. He's saying 21-to-1 ratio. That's a possibility. All right, so let's go to noon. And this is noon. And here you see the snowfall totals. By noon, Detroit still just an inch or so. Up into the Frankenmuth, Saginaw, Flint area, 2 to 3 inches by noon. 5 to 6 as you go to the west side of the state to Grand Rapids, maybe 6 inches or so already. So we'll call it 4 to 6 in the west side of the state by noon. Hey, good evening, Bob from Fife Lake. Let's go to 6 o'clock in the evening. And this is really showing you where the heaviest snow is going to set up. This band from the Thumb to Flint, north of Flint, to around Grand Rapids, northward to about Traverse City or just south of Traverse City. That's the heaviest, and then it tapers off some. So by 6 o'clock, we're talking 2 or 3 inches in the Detroit area, 4 inches in Flint, 7 or so around Saginaw and Bay City, Midland, 7 to 8 west side of the state, Grand Rapids, Big Rapids, Cadillac or so, and 4 to 5 Traverse City, and then as you get to the UP, lesser amounts. And again, I want to emphasize that I'm showing you the 10-to-1 ratio right now, so it could be a little bit higher than that because it's probably going to be a 15 or 18-to-1 ratio. All right, let's go into midnight. Could I exaggerate it because you don't want to go to chem lab? I know the The universities are tough, aren't they? Okay, so this is midnight. So there you're seeing the solid, what I would call a 6 to 10 inch snow from north of Flint, south of Grand Rapids, close to Kalamazoo, through the Tri-Cities, through the Thumb, through Clare, Mount Pleasant, Big Rapids. Big Rapids, this area right here, probably the heaviest, and maybe another area over here around the Tawas area. And then to just south of Traverse City. And let's look at the southern sections, 2, 3, 4 inches, Detroit, Ann Arbor. Okay, that's 10 to 1. This is another model that's 10 to 1, showing about exactly the same thing. You can see how consistent it is. Now, this is our method that takes into account the temperatures in the atmosphere and gives us bigger flakes when it's colder, and gives us not just that 10 to 1 ratio. It decides on what ratio it wants due to the temperature configuration. And I found that it's a little bit high. So you take this and cut it by a couple. And so again, you're seeing where the heaviest will be. If you take 15 and cut it by about 3, you're at 12. This is where the foot snows could be. And this is what gets the Tri-Cities to 9 or 10 inches. That might be stretching it, okay? And that's what takes Detroit, instead of 2 or 3, gets you up to 4 or 5, something like that. But this gives you a real good feel for Grand Rapids to north of Flint, to the Thumb, Saginaw Bay City, Midland, Mount Pleasant. That's where the heaviest is, okay? And again, I want to emphasize that that's the one that's not using the 10 to 1. This is probably a little closer, but it's probably actually going to be somewhere in the middle. Hey, thanks for joining me again. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa, and now we're going to get into the wind and the cold temperatures. If you have any questions, just let me know. Jackson area, you're probably looking at, I would say, a 4 to 6 inch snow. And someone's asking about, we should really be worried about tomorrow afternoon, Macomb County. Yeah, tomorrow afternoon and evening is when it gets kind of nasty for you. Okay, now this is something I've just picked up on. The new data on this high resolution model now showing out to tomorrow morning. And look at the wind gusts. The wind gusts are coming up. It's starting to show 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which would be on the blizzard status. So what you're seeing here are the wind gusts in miles per hour. And let's go through the night tonight, and the winds are starting to come up. Let's get to 7 in the morning. Wind gusts of 35 to 40 miles an hour on the west side of the state, and you've had a couple of inches. So even though you haven't had a whole lot of snow, it's blowing around, and the wind's starting to come up on the east side of the state. Okay, now let's go into 10 o'clock. Look at that, 40-mile-an-hour plus gusts. Areas of 40-mile-an-hour gusts have already had 5 or 6 inches of snow here. So in other words, light fluffy snow, 4 or 5 inches, 40-mile-an-hour gusts. It's going to be a real mess. Hey, good evening, John Heiner. Hey, can you tell everybody at MLive they can work from home tomorrow? He's the big boss. He has that power. All right, so what I've noticed is these wind gusts are coming up, and you get patches of 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts coming through. That is going to produce dangerous blowing and drifting. Now, as the storm center comes through mid-Michigan, it's interesting. You'll see a little lull in the wind at the storm center. This is tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock. And then on the south side of it, the winds crank up again. So when you get into the southeast, you may not have it too bad in the morning or early afternoon, but by evening, with 4 or 5 inches of snow and 30-mile-an-hour winds, it is going to be doggone nasty and dangerous. All right, one last thing here now. Let's get into the temperature. And remember, we are on a big weather roller coaster. We have, hey, there we go. The big man says, work from home, everybody. Keep it safe. We have possibly record cold high temperatures on Wednesday. Jackson may only make it to about 10 below. This would be the first time since 1994 that Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo have had a low temperature below 0. Okay. But then a big quick turnaround. So you mentioned Alpena. Yeah, I didn't mean to diss Alpena. Alpena, you're right into the heart of it. You're in the 6 to 10 or 2 because you get a northeast wind and you get some lake enhancement there. Alrighty. So this is Wednesday's high temperature map. Thank goodness for Lake Michigan and Lake Superior and Lake Huron. High temperature map, single digits above 0, but look at the cold air. Coming around Chicago, there's some thought that Chicago could have its coldest day on record. I got to check to see if that's the rumor going around with high temperatures of minus 25 or so. And then look at the cold comes around to southern Michigan, high temperatures of minus 10 to minus 15. Detroit, you may stay below 0 while northern sections warm just above. Okay? All right, so there's the cold air, but let's get past that. We got another cold one on Thursday. Let's get into Saturday. This is the U.S. model, and it's colder than the European. The European is usually better. This is Saturday, 29, 30, 34 Grand Rapids, 32 Traverse City. The European is at 40. Let's go to Sunday. 38. 40 degrees Kalamazoo, 39 Traverse City, 38 at the bridge. Let's get into Monday. 40s. European has 50s here and 60 along the southern border. All right, so there. Okay, let's take some questions here. I'm seeing Southfield. Southfield, you get into the snow in the mid-morning. You get about probably 3 to 5 inches, wind-driven and nasty by the afternoon and evening. How much is Kalamazoo going to get? Let's go back to the map and I can answer these questions. Kalamazoo, you're probably at I would call Kalamazoo a 5 to 7 inch snow. Okay, and maybe with the higher ratio, we're going to look at temperature or amounts of snow in Kalamazoo a little bit over 7 inches. The wind chills on Wednesday will be 30 below or colder. So, how much in Goodrich? Goodrich, I'm going to say is probably about a 4 to 6 inch snow. Tony, bipolar weather in Michigan. Wind for Saginaw, that comes up, it looks like, during the morning hours out of the east, and then it lulls, and then it comes back out of the north at night. And will we have blizzard conditions? It's going to be very close. Now that I see the 40-mile-an-hour winds, remember, a blizzard is quarter-mile visibility reduced. Let me back up. It's 35-mile-an-hour gusts or more and a quarter-mile visibility reduced due to snow or blowing snow. So you don't even have to actually have falling snow to have a blizzard. You just have to have that 35-mile-an-hour wind and the reduced visibility under a quarter mile for several hours. Okay, not just a brief burst. Here are those. Those would be called brief bursts of whiteouts, which I definitely think we can have. So to sum it up for you, Flint, Grand Rapids, northward, I wouldn't travel tomorrow. Just too much snow, too much wind. South of there, I wouldn't travel, but it's marginal. And in the morning, it should be okay. All right. Then Tuesday is windy and cold. Lake effect kicks in. And with a southwest wind, some of that could come along the I-94, I-69, I-96 area. So be careful there. And then bitterly cold, dangerously cold temperatures on Wednesday. I would plan on no school Wednesday because I've heard from some superintendents that they use minus 20 on the wind chill as a reason to close schools, and that will easily be reached in most any place, it looks like, on Wednesday. So, Denise wants to know, what about Metro Airport? Probably starting to get the light snow Metro Airport, I would say between 7 and 9 tomorrow morning. And then it'll just progress through the day, and I got to tell you, I'm not impressed at all with Metro Airport as a cold part of the U.S. airport on snow. The other day when it was closed for so many hours, it wasn't that big of a deal. Something else was going on there. All right, so there you have it. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Thanks for joining me this evening. Pretty easy forecast. It's going to be nasty for a couple of days. Hang in there because a big turnaround may be coming by next weekend. And I'll update you several times tomorrow, so make sure you check in, log into MLive as much as you can.